everybody. We're the team behind Wayward Strand. We're a collective based in Melbourne called Ghost Pattern. And the team is larger than the three of us, but we're here to chat with you a bit about Wayward Strand. I'm Jason Backer, he, him, and I did some writing and programming and production and wore just a few different hats on the game.
Hello, I'm Goldie Bartlett, she, her. I also wore a lot of hats for Wayward Strand. It was in development for a long time, but
Yeah,
my core role was as one of the visual art leads. Yeah,
And I'm Russell Dilly, he, him. I was the technical director, but also contributed to some narrative development and design development.
yeah, another wearer of many hats.
yeah.
Yeah, did you want to take it away for just talking a bit about Wayward?
Yes, so Wayward Strand is a heartfelt narrative game in which you take on the role of Casey Morris, who is an Australian teenager who is getting to know the elderly residents of a hospital aboard an airship. Over the course of 3 days in the game, you get to meet the residents of the airship, and you'll get the opportunity to chat with them. And then you also will overhear some of the goings-on that happen around the ship. And one of the more interesting features of the game is that the stories of each of the characters will continue regardless of where you are and what you are choosing to do. So this means that your experience of the story will very much depend on the particular events that you're present to witness.
Yeah,
Good way of describing it.
yeah, totally. I guess we also love to talk about why we made Wayward.
I think we were, interested in indie games and sort of in particular narrative in indie games. We were, we came together back in 2016. So it's been a long time, and people on the team, a lot of us weren't necessarily from a video games background. Like one of our other core writers, Georgia Simmons, is has a background in theatre, and I think that we wanted to kind of put a team together to approach narrative in game design, or narrative in game design, in a more holistic way, I guess is how I would describe it. Let's see what happens, and then the kind of story and setting and gameplay really developed together through that collaboration, and bouncing ideas off one another, with a lot of the team's input kind of shaping it. It's a bit of a roundabout answer, but I think that's sort of one of the big things at the heart of Wayward Strand. Why we wanted to make it is because it's what we as individuals coming together wanted to make after talking about it. Also, we wanted to tell stories about people who we had connections to in our own lives. I think that was maybe one of the core things that came out of all of that. And in particular, the elderly people in our lives, or our own parents who are aging now. And so that's how it came to be, set in an aged care kind of setting. And the other thing that I think was important to us was just sort of trying to tell a story that was from our own country, from Australia. So that's why it's a very relaxed Australian approach. The final thing that I think made, from my perspective, that made a huge impact on the shape of Wayward Strand was that at the beginning, it was not intended to be like a commercial project. It ended up as one, but we had no plans for it to come out on all of the consoles that it came out on, for example. And so I think approaching it at the time without that sort of stuff over our shoulders, making us worry, helped to give Wayward Strand its unique shape.
Yeah,
What do you two
totally.
think? Does that sound about What am I missing?
No, I think you're totally right. I've been thinking about that a lot recently. That
Yeah.
it's like our almost real aversion to thinking about selling the game early on. Really made the game what it is. Like I think it would have been a fundamentally different thing if we were more focused on like commercial viability. Um,
Mm.
one value I think that the team has as well is like having a focus on research and consultation, and that's something that uh, like Goldie mentioned that it's set in Australia and it's set in a very particular kind of place in Australia on the land of the Bunurong Nation and the Bunurong people who are one of the indigenous nations in Australia, and we spent a lot of time with them and worked on the game with them basically. And there's like a particular character who is a young Bunurong man who was like heavily developed through consultation with members of the Bunurong community, but also the wider game itself is definitely kind of influenced and
Mm.
yeah, was made in consultation. And then we've also
Yeah.
consulted on aged care and like living with dementia and quite a few of the other topics that show up in the game.
Yeah, because we wanted to tell these stories from real life, or from well, yeah, from real life and from history. It was important to try to see how to do that in a way that was, genuine and yeah, consultation and talking to a lot of people was a huge backbone for Wayward Strand and what makes the world and all of the NPCs feel as like robust as they do.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we could probably each talk a bit about just, why we made it, like what Wayward Strand means to us. It's a it's a tough one because I think because we've worked on it, like we worked on it for almost 7 years before it
yeah,
was released, it probably means a lot of things to each of us. Um, yeah, like just we can just spitball, but I think for me it's the kind of game that I've always wanted to make, something that it feels like heartfelt with interesting characters that do surprising things, but believable as characters and who bounce off each other in interesting ways. I don't know. I've always loved games like this. From just games that have story focuses. One of my big inspirations was Hotel Dusk, which probably not a lot of people know these days, but it was made by this awesome Japanese studio in the mid aughts, I think. And that's just it's a game that just has a lot of things that I think Wayward Strand has. Characters that are doing interesting, surprising things, and a story that kind of like wavers around a bit, like doesn't really
yeah,
have a real pull from start to finish, like a drive, but that allows it to go to all of these more interesting um, side roads and alleys and things.
that's nice. Russ.
I mean, as with us all, I think I, have so many reasons that I had wanted to make something like this, kind of similarly like inspired to make something that was very kind of focused on character development and character interaction. But I think there's definitely been a strong kind of core drive for me, which was like right back at the start, I started working on Wayward Strand to express how I was starting to feel isolated from my aging relatives, especially my grandparents and aunts and uncles who live overseas. So kind of making Wayward Strand like started as an opportunity to reminisce on the times when I visited them when I was quite young.
Mm.
And at the time, I remember the interactions being awkward and not really being entirely sure of what I should say or how I should act with um, my relatives. But I think as I look back and over the course of making the game, I have thought back and I do have a lot of fondness for those moments that I was able to spend with them. And so this game kind of for me captures a lot of those feelings. But I think kind of it feels like it has kind of grown to be a lot more than that. And I think that each like character feels embellished by the care of each member of the development team. And so I like now I just genuinely enjoy spending time with these wonderful characters that we've made. Like they just feel very well developed and beautiful. Sometimes flawed, but definitely just yeah, it's a joy to be able to jump in and play the game and yeah, spend time with them.
Yeah.
I
I
don't think I could answer it any better than that, Russ. That's beautiful.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. It's
But
like
it's just, yeah.
yeah, I feel like describing our game as like an awkwardness simulator would be like really cool because
Yeah.
it is so much about just the awkwardness of being kind of in a space and you don't know exactly what you're meant to be doing and
Yeah.
you're having these funny, strange interactions with people that you're kind of like coming to each moment not sure what's going to come out of it.
Mm. Yeah, there's something about the delicate balance of being not a child anymore, but definitely not an adult with responsibilities yet.
Mm.
So Casey's only 14. And yeah, the kind of fine line between childhood and early adulthood where you're still not sure where you sit. And yeah, reminiscing on what it was like to speak to elderly people at that age, where everybody's just so caring and doting on you, and forgiving, but you kind of half want that and half don't want that, and it all gets very awkward very quickly, but in a pleasant way most of the time. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Um,
yeah, did either of you want to kind of like cover any other like things or
I guess I would like to say that one of the things we haven't said in this video yet that might be interesting if you're watching this, is that we really made Wayward Strand with new gamers in mind. So for
yeah.
example, I really wanted my mum to be able to play Wayward Strand, and she's 72 and has never played a video game really, other than Mahjong, and Solitaire. So it's a very accessible game for people who are new to them. And I think that we've had some nice feedback from a lot of people who've played the game with their parents or even their grandparents. So that's just a nice thing to look out for if the demo or if the game is there where you are watching this video. Keep that in mind. What else? No, that's my additional thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, on that, I'll just say yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, it's great to be a part of Old Shift Play.
Yeah.
Very excited to be sharing the game in Kuala Lumpur. And yeah, thanks for checking out the game and watching this video.
We
Um,
all really hope that we can come up to KL sometime and meet you
yeah,
all, and that you can come down to Melbourne and meet us. And
yeah, that'd be great.
yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, and if you like Wayward Strand and you'd like to be able to play it in the comfort of your own home, it is out and available now on a bunch of platforms. It's on Steam, on PC, as well as PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox One X, Xbox Series, and Switch, Nintendo Switch as well. Yeah, so many platforms. I don't know why we did that to ourselves.
If your fridge has got a little touch screen, I think you
Yeah,
can possibly get it on that too.
Yeah. It's under the last menu that you look.
That's right.
At, so
If
you
you
have to
next
go
time you
all the
take
way
an
there.
airplane flight on the back of the seats,
Yeah, exactly. It's like
it's not on either of
it's
those.
on a we have a Discord community as well. If you'd like to jump on and chat, and also just chat with other people who have played Wayward Strand and are into it.
Yeah, particularly as well if you're a game developer yourself and want to chat. We'd love to meet you and it's what I would be very interested in. I'm very happy with Alt Shift Play, like strengthening the community between Malaysia and Australia, and
totally.
Meet us. Let's meet.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. That's us for now. See you later.
Have a good day.
Bye.